I don't know about you guys, but I had no idea that you could grow things. What?
I'm watching you.
That you could grow things from cuttings. Like when I met Michaela, my knowledge about gardening was very limited, and I've learned so much in such a short time. But the thing that blew my mind the most was the fact that you could break something off of something and plant it and it will grow. So not plant a seed, not plant a fruit, not do any fancy things that you need fancy things for, literally breaking something off of something and it grows roots. It blew my mind. But one of the most impressive plants for me was definitely the sweet potato plant.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Michaela's going to tell you about it.
So sweet potatoes are incredibly easy to grow actually, and if you're not careful, they will take over your garden. So we're going to show you a couple of ways that you can grow them, because once you have sweet potatoes, you pretty much always have
You
them.
will always have them. yeah.
And they are delicious and nutritious, and you can also eat the greens.
That's
just like spinach or like lettuce. We eat them all the time.
Yeah, it's a huge bonus. I love greens. And the cool thing is we always have something green in the garden that I can eat.
Yeah.
So the fact that the fact that they grow the way that they do, they vine out everywhere and they have leaves for days. And you can eat them and we use them all the time. So yeah, plant some sweet potatoes.
Yeah, so one of the first ways, well, the easiest, is if you are already growing sweet potatoes, or if you know someone who's growing sweet potatoes, you just need to take a few cuttings like this from their plant or from your plant and cut off the bottom leaves and stick them in a cup of water. So these guys are coming into the pathway right now, so we need to kind of trim this back.
Sorry, one of the things we also like to practice is when we prune, we like to make sure that what we're cutting back is being used for something else. And you could always just throw it on the ground where your plants are, because it will add nutrients to the ground. So that's one way, but there's so many other ways that you could use things when you prune back. This being one of them, you could create more growth. You could use them for animal feeds. There's a lot of beneficial plants, weeding as well, that you can use for animal feeds and that you can eat yourself. So you could be harvesting and weeding at the same time, which is my favorite thing to do.
Win-win situation. So just proving to everyone that you can actually eat them. There you go. So there's a couple. Let's see if there's another one. I think we're good. That's good for now. Okay, so that's one way. And within a few days, like 5 days, week max, these guys will all have roots from each of these little leaf nodes. And you can just stick them in the ground, and each one of these cuttings will make its own sweet potato plant and look like this very soon. Next one.
Okay.
So there's another way that you can grow sweet potatoes, and that is if you have a sweet potato from the shop.
So we like saving our potato eyes in the kitchen when we cook. We chop potatoes up, and if there's eyes coming out, we save those and we usually plant them. But I don't know how many people know that you can do that with sweet potatoes as well.
Very similar. So I mean, you could cut this off. This sweet potato is a purple sweet potato that we bought from the shop. You could cut this off right here. There's a few sprouts on here, and you could plant that. But another way is if you take this sweet potato, here's a little pot of soil, and plant this guy just like that in the soil and water it. Then the part that's under the soil will grow roots, and these little sprouts will get nice and big, and when they're about 10 centimeters long, you break them off right here next to the potato, stick them in water, and then the same thing happens. They will grow roots, and then you can plant them out and you'll have more sweet potato plants.
So you can even grow sweet potatoes even if you're not growing sweet potatoes already.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You don't need seeds, you don't need to buy sweet potato runners or slips. You don't need to You can just go to the shop, buy sweet potatoes, eat most of them, save one or two, and then you can grow your own.
Cool.
So these are the sweet potato runners that we picked from our plant in our garden, and this was done about 6 days ago, and this is what they look like. They've been standing on a windowsill with water just in a little jar, and they have tons of roots already, and they'll probably be ready to plant in the ground in a couple of days.
This is how long?
6 days.
6 days.
It's very, very
is
easy to grow your
impressive.
own sweet potatoes.